I teased it earlier in the episode here. There are player contract incentives this week that everyone should be aware of. Where do you want to start with these?
Yeah, so not as sexy, I think, as the names that were up there last year. I mean, last year we had literally the best one of all. Mike Evans was getting paid for hitting 1,000 yards and also needed to extend his own record. Did so in magnificent fashion with Baker Mayfield feeding him at the very end of the game. Everybody was hyped for him. It was great. Unless he gets about 500, 600 yards in Week 18, Mike Evans will not be extending his own record. So the names aren't as exciting, I think, as they have been in the past. But nonetheless, there are plenty of things to play for these guys. Now, the books know all of this, and it's going to be cooked into the lines. That's not much different than any other week in the NFL. We don't have any knowledge that the books have. We just have our own models and our ways of interpreting things, but they know everything that we do. So just don't think you're getting a sneaky angle because you know that Hunter Henry has some receptions-based incentives. But, we could still maybe try to find something. My personal philosophy with this is if you like a guy to hit some of these marks, you're probably going to get a little juiced if they're hovering right around there. Look for them to go a little bit over. They're probably going to get the attention if that is actually a motivation for the team in that game. And, it's not like they're going to throw them their 5 yards and then call it quits unless they are like, in a situation where they're trying to get in how, like the Bills, who do have a couple in here. So we'll just look at a few notable players who could hit these marks, see if our projections line up. So Sam Darnold's one. He's actually got the most, I think, on the line here, chasing up to about $2 million in just performance incentives this week. Jeez. 3 touchdown passes will get him $500K. 150 passing yards will get him $500K. And then if he can increase his completion rate by 0.3% and his passer rating by 0.8, those will each net him $500K. Excuse me. He's projected for 237.2 passing yards from the Dimers model, so probably rolling to the yards one and the completion rate, passer rating ones. 3 touchdowns. That's kind of up in the air a bit, but the way the Niners have been playing lately, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him toss 3 touchdowns. One thing I think you could maybe exploit with this is I'm going to say expect a few extra dump offs as he tries to secure that passing, that completion rate, and maybe look for Ken Walker to catch a couple and go deep like he did against the Rams, like that 50-yard catch and run. Projected just 15 receiving yards, but you never know if Sam Darnold might try to keep it a little tighter to give him a little cushion for his completion percentage.
It's a good shot.
I'll just run through. Yeah. I think that's I think the way you kind of want to use these too is, all right, if Sam Darnold needs 150 passing yards, you're not going to be able to make any money on 150 yards, and there's no need to be betting him to get 300 to try and get some value. Look for who could be the beneficiary of something like that in that situation. Yeah. Rico Dowdle, he needs just 7 scrimmage yards for a $1 million bonus, which is, so awesome for that guy who came into this as basically like a prove it deal. He's projected for 55.9 rushing yards alone. So congratulations, Rico Dowdle,
good
on
for
your $1
Rico.
million bonus. Absolutely. You got to love stuff like that for a guy. Having a $1 million contract incentive in your contract as a running back is a pretty big risk, and it's going to work out for him, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb.
He's been like one of the more unbelievable stories of the season, but legitimately a playmaker sensation throughout the year. I'm excited to watch that moment happen for him,
Yeah, it'll be really fun. I think you'll see teammates get pretty rallied up, and it might just help them power the Panthers to a dub, which we're looking for.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, he needs 94 rushing yards for 250K to hit 600 total yards. That's not happening. He's projected for 13.4. He's simply not a part of the Texans' game plan these days. This is an important game. So, unfortunately, Nick Chubb will not be getting his bonus payday. Hollywood Brown needs a touchdown for 750K. That would hit 6 touchdowns. 3 TDs will get him $1 million. He's not going to do that. He gets a 20.6% TD probability. Fair odds at plus 400. Might be worth a look to see if Chris Oladokun will try to feed his guy and get him a $750,000 bonus. Wouldn't be betting it just to bet it, but if you can get Hollywood Brown around plus 400 fair odds. Probably worth a look. A few guys on the Bills. Khalil Shakir has both receptions and touchdown escalators, but the only ones that are realistically in reach are hitting 80 receptions and 5 or 6 touchdowns if he managed to get 2. Each one of these steps will get him 150K. He's at 72 receptions and 4 touchdowns. So 8 receptions and 1 touchdown will get him $300,000. Projected for just 2.2 and a 20.5% TD probability. Not supported by the model here. Might be an interesting one for like 4 or 5 or 6 catches if the value is good. You don't necessarily need to bet the guy to hit the whole thing. If you can get any kind of decent value on Khalil Shakir's receptions, it could be worth a look, but the model is not projecting him to have any substantial output. This is kind of a fun one. Dawson Knox, he's 7 yards away from 400 yards, which nets him 100K. Projected for just 11.6. So it's going to be a close one for Mr. Knox here. Again, no lines, but could be a little bit of a fun one to watch. A couple other big names here. Deebo Samuel, 93 receiving yards away from a $450,000 bonus for hitting 800 yards. 2 TDs away from a 250K bonus, 8 touchdowns. Probably not going to hit that against the Eagles unless they take some guys out. He's projected for 35.6 yards, 27.4% TD probability, so fair at plus 265. We'll say he was very heavily featured against the Cowboys with Josh Johnson under center, so could see him pretty heavily featured again if they try to get him paid. Not going to find any lines on that right now, but something to look out for, at least getting closer. Any type of plus money value on Deebo yards, 40, 50, 60 might be worth a look, as they might be trying to feed him here. Saquon Barkley, probably the biggest name on this, needs 87 yards total, all-purpose yards, for a $250,000 bonus for hitting 1,500. Projecting him under this, 50.9 rushing yards, 11.4 receiving. Kind of feels like they're cooking in only a half of play from Saquon Barkley here in our projections. And it's worth noting they did not have him go for the rushing record last year when they had nothing to play for. So you might not see Saquon, get his chance. And not for nothing, he's getting paid a lot of money. They risking the injury for the 250K when they could just give him 250K for being on the Super Bowl roster would probably be more their style. And then, you got Keenan Allen, but the Chargers are going to rest their guys. Stephon Diggs needs 30 yards for a 500K bonus to hit 1,000. He already earned 500,000 for hitting 80 catches. Projecting him for 42 yards, so he certainly is projected to hit this, but no idea what the lines are like. He's also dealing with a potentially significant off-the-field issue that came out like just a couple hours ago, so not really an angle I think I would be looking at if it comes up. It's just probably something you want to stay away from with some things in flux and in question. Certainly others out there. There are tons more incentives. I'll probably do a little digging over the next couple days while I'm off for the holiday to see if I can scrum up some stuff to put together for a little, data-backed insights thing closer to the weekend. But, always some interesting angles. And like I said, look for the ways to maybe capitalize on these indirectly. Who's going to catch the passes that Sam Darnold needs to throw? Will Deebo get, less rushing work because he needs the receiving yards, things like that.
Yeah, the Kenneth Walker shout was a great example of that one. But I will be looking forward to that data-backed insights piece whenever that comes out later this week. Not to make you do more work around the new year, Dave, but we appreciate all the efforts that go into this. I think you should get a bonus. If you write that article, if you give us that graphic, I think we should give Dave an end-of-year bonus. Just speaking for myself, that is what it is.